It's the summer, which means it's officially personal statement writing season. If you haven't started writing your personal statement or started your law school applications yet, don't worry. This video is going to walk you through 3 key steps to ensure a strong personal statement. And if you're new here and you're like, who are you? My name is Sydney Montgomery. I am the founder and executive director of Barrier Breakers. We are a nonprofit that specializes in working with first generation, minority, and immigrant law school applicants. And I love everything there is about the personal statement. I know no one says that, but I just happen to love the personal statement. I love all essays. I love being able to help students bring forth the best stories, to really showcase who they are authentically to admissions, and to tell their story in a way that is going to open doors and change their lives. But I know from doing law school admissions for almost the last 10 years that most students do not feel this way about the writing process. In fact, most students wish they could magically skip over this, somehow just, maybe even have an interview instead of writing their essays, because it can seem overwhelming and daunting to figure out how to take who you are and put it in 2 double-spaced pieces of paper. Well, I'm going to give you some tips today that hopefully will make it a little bit easier. So the first tip is to have a guiding theme. Now, if you're one of my students or if you have heard us talk on this podcast or this YouTube channel before, you know we focus on having a why law statement. What is the area of law that is calling you? Who do you want to serve and advocate for or hold responsible? What is that thing that is making you realize that you need to go to law school now? It's why law, why now in your career. And it shouldn't be some vague statement like, oh, I want to help the helpless or give voice to the voiceless, which people say all the time. Still, I've been doing this podcast for almost 4 years and people still keep saying it. You want to have something a little bit more specific, right? I want to hold corporations accountable for the environmental damages that they are perpetrating. I want to advocate for women in domestic violence situations. Something that is really specific and that makes the admissions committee understand exactly why you are applying to law school. Having a guiding theme can make your essay more coherent, more cohesive, and overall, it allows the reader to connect with your words and with your story and be convinced that yes, law school is the next step on your path. Now, I will tell you what is not a guiding theme. A guiding theme is not the law. Sometimes students give personal statements to us, and it is mostly just a list of everything they've ever done or ever experienced that remotely touches the law. I'm talking about we start from criminal law to immigration. We talk about a time that you had to argue a parking ticket in court, all the way to a time when you were protesting for civil rights. We put it all in one essay, right? And it's like, okay, yes, the law does touch many different areas of our life, but if you give me all of these different anecdotes that don't actually have anything in common besides the law, it's going to fall flat. It's going to be confusing. I'm going to be reading it and going, wait, how do we get there? What are we doing there? Right? You want to have some sort of theme that makes sense. If you are really passionate about child advocacy, you might have a few different anecdotes that are on that theme, and they don't all have to be a specific time when you were working in a law office or when you were interning on Capitol Hill. I know everyone feels like they have to put those anecdotes in their personal statement. You don't. You can if you want to. They can be very meaningful stories, but they're not expecting everyone to have interned or worked at a law firm or law office or even in government. Sometimes you just have to have a burning passion for changing something, a specific area that makes law school make sense to you. And that brings me to my next point. You want to make sure that you have a combination of anecdotes that show the progression of a passion or development of a theme towards an issue. But it's a series of anecdotes. I'm talking about maybe 3 anecdotes, maybe 4. But you don't want to end up just listing things. So often students feel like they have to put everything in their personal statement, even though they have a lot of things in their resume. And what ends up happening is your personal statement becomes nothing more than a narrative resume. And I promise you, law school admissions officers, they will read your resume. I think we have this fear. Like, if I don't talk about it in my essays, they won't know because they're going to just ignore my resume. They're going to ignore anything else. I have to put everything in my essay. And that is not true. They ask for your resume for a reason, and for law school applications, your resume can be up to 2 pages. And I promise it will get read. So you don't have to worry about making sure that you repeat everything in your resume in your personal statement. Your personal statement should actually not really repeat what's in your resume. It's okay to talk about an experience in your resume, but I should learn something different from your personal statement than your resume. Right? Your resume has qualitative and quantitative bullet points that really show the impact or what exactly you did, but your personal statement is a story. It's a time for you to share how you felt, what you saw, what you heard, who said what, how did you react, what did that feel like to you, and what did that make you do afterwards, and how did that shape your passions. Those are things that can't really fit in a resume, not quite so easily, but they should come alive in your personal statement. But you should also feel comfortable talking about things in your personal statement that aren't on your resume. Not every experience that you have is appropriate for a resume, and that's the beauty of them being 2 separate pieces of your application. If you have been listening, you know that your application, I always like to say, is like a puzzle where you have many different pieces. You don't need the same piece twice, right? We can't do anything with 2 right corner pieces. That doesn't make a puzzle. But we need the puzzle pieces, different ones, to fit together to make a whole. Now, if this is sounding a little bit overwhelming to you, or you're like, I'm not really sure where to get started, I'm going to take this time to remind you guys that we have a completely free course if you are an LSAC fee waiver, or if you don't have a fee waiver, it is $19. It is the Master Your Personal and Diversity Statement course, and it walks you through the entire brainstorming process that we use here, our story matrix process. It walks you through how to choose your stories, how to order your stories, how to make a good outline, everything you need for your personal statement. It is completely free. If you have a fee waiver, just click the link below in the description or in the show notes of this episode. Like I said, if you don't have a fee waiver, it's only $19. We want to make sure that you have the best tools possible to write your personal statement. And we also have a free guide, which is free for everyone, on writing your personal statement, which you can get right on our website at law.barrier-breakers.org. We will also link that below in the description and also in the podcast show notes. So you have now heard me talk a little bit about structure and how to choose and order your stories, because that brings me to my 3rd key step for writing a strong personal statement, and that is outlining. I love outlining. I outline everything. I outline emails, I outline speeches, I outline essays. I love an outline. You know why? Because an outline gives you structure. I outline my day, okay? Because I need to know, like, morning, this is what we're gonna do. Afternoon, dinner, okay? Like, I love to have structure and outlining, and I'm someone who has ADHD, so I really need it, okay? Because otherwise I'm like, whoa, it's like 8 o'clock, I didn't do anything, right? So I need to have some structure. But some of you also need to have some structure in your essays, because a lot of times people just start writing. People don't love outlining like I love outlining, and I have made peace with this. But the thing is, I can tell if you don't outline your essay. I can tell if you just started writing, because halfway through, you're not really sure where you're going. I'm not really sure where you're going. And then we sort of get to the end, and sometimes you don't even have a conclusion, and it doesn't make sense, right? You want your essay to feel tight. Like I said, it's 2 pages. And if you don't have a plan for those 2 pages, it's going to come just like that. And you're just going to run out of space. You will have realized that you spent a whole page on an anecdote, and then you're shoving everything else into the last page, and that doesn't work, right? I want you to have a well-structured personal statement. It should be a good piece of writing. Everyone loves to read good writing. It just makes everyone happy, right? And so this is what I want for your personal statement. I want it to be structured. I want you to know how you're starting. What story are you opening up with? What imagery are you telling me? That is some of the best possible strategy for starting your personal statement, is to start with a story or an imagery that puts me right in that moment. And then where are we going? How are we progressing from that? What is the theme that's connecting these different stories through? What are the transitions in between the different paragraphs, right? Transitions are really important. And how does this ultimately connect to law school? Why law and why now? Have I answered that question in my personal statement? Is it clear why I am endeavoring to apply to law school? Those are the things that your personal statement needs to have. It should share your personality, should share who you are. It should illuminate the admissions office to what really moves you and drives you and how you might contribute to their law school community. I know, it's a lot for 2 pages, but it can happen. It can work. And I love to help people make it work, because I feel like there's nothing better than when you finish writing your personal statement and you're like, yeah, this is it. This is me. I left it all on the page. And whatever happens, happens. But I know that my essay showcased who I was. That's what I want you to feel when you finish writing your personal statement. So let me know, was this helpful? What questions do you still have about your personal statement? We would love to help you through this process. We are here for you. We are always thinking of you and thinking of different ways that we can add value. So comment and let us know, or you can always reach out. You can submit a question to us at bit.ly/breakintolawschool. We would love to answer your questions live on the podcast or on YouTube. Make sure you share, like, and follow, and share it with a friend, right? Because sharing is caring. I'll talk to you guys soon.